And welcome yet again. Strange things happening around the world, lots of different countries, stock market crashes and this and that and the other, doom and gloom everywhere. Arkan, what do you make of it?
We've been talking about this paradigm shift for a long time for us now. We've been doing this broadcast thing for months, over months. And all we've been talking about is how things are going to be changing.
Right.
All we were talking about is how things would change in the future. And that future is now. It is changing, so it doesn't really make any difference talking about events because New York stock market stopped for no reason. United Airlines stopped for no reason. China is going down
huge
for
deficit,
great reasons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really help anyone talking about what's going down. I would like to be talking about what's going up.
Okay, let's see what's going on.
What's going on? What is the change? If there is a change, if we are trying to make something out of nothing, or is this false pattern recognition? Because most of what people claim it to be is that it's false pattern recognition in astrology. Because it doesn't really make sense, those planets and suns or moons come into a specific position, meaning something in a person's life or psyche or personality doesn't really make sense, doesn't compute for many people. And they call it false pattern recognition because it doesn't make sense.
But this seems to be what we've spoken about in the past. Seems to be pointing in the direction what you've been talking about. Things are changing big time. It seems.
I am not the source of all that talk. I am not the source of anything of this reality.
No, but, things we've been reading as well about
I am
what's
just
happening.
Relaying information that I receive from everyone that I have been reading, following, or seeing. And all of this, for example, Dr. Simon Atkins did a huge radio show, a 3-hour talk on this subject alone. And you can always Google it and find it out for yourself. Listen to it if you can for 3 hours. Yeah. And you'll get the information. You'll get the very same information that we've been talking about. Humanity is waking up. Consciousness is regaining power. And we are regaining sovereignty of our own selves. Because this was transferred to other beings, and it was done on a con, and we were conned into it.
Still are being conned.
No, well, many people are waking up from it, but
a lot of people are. Maybe a lot of us aren't, but there's a lot of people who are still sort of need to turn around and say, "Wait a minute."
What's going on is that the world is going through a huge shift.
Yeah.
And that shift is for the better. And for anything to change, you have to break the old patterns. For example, if you want to build a palace, if you want to build the most beautiful house for yourself, you have to break the ground.
Yeah.
And that breaking of the ground is what's happening. The ground is breaking. That's why it feels like the earth is shattering. It indeed is.
Are we talking about people's attitudes here or people just understanding what's
everything,
going on?
Everything merging into one. Understanding is what shifts and nothing else.
Awareness.
We've been talking. Awareness is an understanding, and understanding is all that is. Because whatever is already is.
Yeah.
How you understand, how you perceive it changes. That's why understanding is the only thing that changes. Humanity's understanding of life here on Earth is changing.
People tend to get their information. I'm the same. I mean, as most people, we read what's happening in the newspapers. They tell us that's happening here.
That's
this is going on there. We can only form an opinion from what we read and think that's right. That's what's happening in the world. But obviously, this is just like a barrier.
It's
not real.
Because if you only follow one source and take it to be real, take it to be true, you are most likely to be manipulated.
Yeah.
And to be able to see through that, see beyond that, you may have to look into ways of manipulation all these channels use. And when you see that pattern repeating itself, you see through that.
Yeah.
And when you take an alternative view on the same subject, you get an alternative view on the same subject. That's just a point of opinion on the same matter. And you form your opinion by assessing all the different values you have been receiving. And whatever you come to, the decision I'm talking about, that judgment you come to should not be solid. It should be open to interpretation for yourself, by yourself, and it should be open to change because nothing is stable.
No, sure. People tend to just want to go with the flow, don't they? Many people have this attitude. Oh, okay, just like...
there are two flows. Letting go with the flow is what we as sovereign beings do. Letting go with the flow is what the sleeping cattle or herds of cattle do.
Yeah.
I'm not calling people cattle.
No,
I'm
I see what you're making the point. I understand what you're saying.
It's a huge responsibility to go with the flow
Yeah.
and be aware of the flow, and to go with the flow just to prevent some kind of confrontation. Only the dead fish go with the flow, and only the clever fish go with the flow, because the in-between go against the fucking flow.
Yeah.
And those fish swim upwards a stream to lay their eggs and come back. That's their own flow. If one of them went with the flow of the water and did not go against it, he would just go with the flow that is taking him nowhere. What flow are you going to be letting go to?
So this is a case of how do you and can you, or what happens about changing people's attitudes? You know, if we want to change something, if we want something to be better in our lives, I mean,
You have to
how do
accept it first.
you have to see through yourself first, obviously.
You have to accept what you want to change first. Why you want to change it. Why you want change to happen. What is there to change? You acknowledge it. That is the acceptance.
Yeah.
Accepting something before changing it doesn't mean you don't want it to change. You want it to change. That's why you accept
Of course, it's like anything you want. It's like when you have to confront something in your life, you have to admit to yourself, I am an alcoholic, before you can actually do something about it. You have to understand that yourself.
That's acknowledgement. That's admitting. That's acceptance.
Yeah.
That's accepting it for what it is. Then you do something. Then you be something. Then you are something else. Or you are already what you are. And you are fine with it. Going with the flow is the same thing. If you do care about events that are happening in the world now, if you're just looking at fireworks and talking about how that blast made a color, blah, blah, blah. Why are those fireworks in the air in the first place?
Yeah, we talking and we should be questioning things.
Question everything. Question me. Question you. Question yourself first and better than any other thing. Why are you yourself? Why are you doing things that you're doing? Why do you like some
Like
stuff?
self-psychology, in a sense.
Exactly. If you understand yourself, if you know yourself, if you know thyself, you will understand many people. You will understand people. You will understand the humanity. Because humanity is humans multiplied by many. That's it.
That is, I think, maybe one of the big problems in this, or maybe the wrong word to use, a problem, but people don't understand themselves.
Exactly. And they try to make a meaning out of what they read.
Yeah.
I've just had it with a spiritually enlightened person that I've been working with, that I'm in the same team with. I wrote something in a joking manner, in a humorous manner. But what is humor? Humor
It's how you
is
perceive things, isn't it? We all perceive things differently.
What constitutes humor in a situation? Saying something that isn't there. Saying something that isn't real.
Yeah.
Saying something in a different perspective. As if, these are on quotes, as if is funny. It's not as if it's funny. As if is what's funny.
Yeah.
And this is what I realized. When we read stuff from a writing, a message, a newspaper, an article, a book, whatever we're reading, if the words are printed on a paper, and if it's not you that wrote it, we read those things, those words, the printing, in our own inner voice. And that inner voice is us.
Yeah, well,
Whoever wrote that is not us.
Words are a matter of fact, aren't they? I mean, the spoken word is totally different because we have different shades, different tones, different ways
Exactly.
to say
The
things.
intonation, the intention.
Sure. As we read it, as you're right, as we read it as we interpret it ourselves.
We read it out loud in our inner voice, in our head, to ourselves. How do you read? That's how reading happens. That's why fast reading does not make you read out sentences. You look at a sentence and you understand what it means. You get the meaning. You don't read it to yourself. You just skip that intermediary part.
Yeah.
And that causes a lot of misunderstanding. The misunderstanding is that misunderstanding. You missed the point because you didn't make that point in the first place.
Yeah, and that point that was made by somebody else doesn't necessarily mean what you've interpreted it to be in the first place.
If there are two options and you took the one that is negative, this means there has to be something positive as well. Because what I'm trying to be is neutral. No value added to it. No value added to anything. That's how I can be positive myself. That's how I can emanate positive light from
Let
myself.
me just say something here. This is a good point. I remember many, many months ago, you used to walk in and say, how you doing? I'd say, oh, not bad. And you said to me, why do you say not bad? You remember?
Of course.
I didn't know why I used to say, oh, I'm not bad. I never used to say, I'm fine, I'm great, I'm good. It was always, I'm not bad. I'm 50-50, Why?
Because
Negative?
no, that's how you used to being. If you're good, if you excel your expectations, if you're feeling really good, you think it's bad. You think you're going to be punished for it.
Do you think maybe we feel that way because we want to know we can reach something better?
If you
That's why
if
we're
you
looking at
claim-
ourselves in a lower esteem, if you like.
Could be. If you claim that you are really good, excelling, you are excellent, you're perfect, I'm really good. Someone is going to ask for something, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't want your space to be invaded.
Yeah.
That's why you say, I'm not bad. Come on. I could have been better. Always. That kind of negativity, that kind of resentment towards life is what we've been taught. That's how you keep consuming. That's how you keep buying stuff. And the more you buy, the more they want to sell because the more they think they can sell. The more we talk and the more whoever you are listening to us now, the more you listen, the more we talk. That's it. If you don't listen, we don't talk.
We don't talk, yeah.
We talk on a, we always are going to be talking among us and we're going to be recording it. If you don't listen to it, we don't exist for you. Just like that. The
Yeah.
events.
So the point you're making here, if we don't buy it, it doesn't exist, it goes away.
Exactly. That's how propaganda, manipulation of the events in this world happen.
Yeah. I was just about to say, I'm not talking about material things, I'm talking about the things we read. The things which
Metaphorical meaning
do.
of buying stuff. It's like, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
I'm not on your manipulation agenda anymore. I'm out of it. That's all there is to it.
You know, I
You
think...
just decide, you just choose to be out of it and you are out of it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
I think a lot of people's... I can must class myself in the same mold in a way. The things I would normally read would be newspapers. Very rarely books. I think that's the problem with a lot of people. They need to read something more substantial.
This is an audio recording, so I'm nodding my head.
But they need to read something more with more meaning than just a headline. Because as we said before, newspapers make those headlines to sell the papers.
Exactly. And what sells? Fear.
Yeah, plenty of that in newspapers at the moment.
Terror. Violence.
Let's talk about some. You read. You're quite a big reader. Some of the books which would maybe help people to understand themselves more. What kind of literature?
The first book I would ever suggest anyone on this path, if they think they are just awakening, they are just finding out what the hell is
What's going on in this
what's
world,
going on.
yeah.
They don't know it. They feel they need to know something before they can take the next step.
Mm-hmm.
Read Eckhart Tolle. So light reading. The Power of Now. A New World. Read those. You'll understand a lot more. And next, if you are really open and if you want something really bad, your reality will shift into it.
You just
And
go with it. There's no resistance there. You'll just
Exactly. And you'll understand a lot more. And the way you understand is not by reading or by knowing. You'll know intuitively. You have to be open to it. This was told to me a million times over until I understood it myself. But your awakening, your enlightenment will only happen in your own time. No one can do it for you. No one can, hasten it for you. Whatever you're given, you have to process first.
even people who have this negativity, who say, "Well, I can't do that." Oh no, we don't know we can't, but we say, "Well, I can't do that." No, that's not me. Even people with this kind of attitude, books can help
Well, books can't help anyone unless
if they're
they're
not willing.
read.
If they're not willing.
And if you're not willing and open to changing yourself, to changing your ways, or to understand better, nothing can help you.
I think people really should understand what's happening in this world and what's happening to it involves them. It affects them.
You're judging on your behalf again. No one should understand anything. If they choose not to, they will not anyway. So why bother?
But
It's not for their good. It's not for their bad either. It's their choice. And everything you choose is your choice. Karma is a bitch only if you are.
Yeah.
When you put out a negative vibe, like you need to understand what's going on in the world, man. It is going down. You need to understand if someone told me that a couple of years ago and I would have no idea what's going on, I would say he's trying to sell me something.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is.
Yeah.
You only understand, you only wake up when you have to. Even if you set an alarm, it goes off and you still want to sleep. You get out of the bed with sleep in your eyes. You're not awakened.
Yeah.
And being out of the bed doesn't mean you're
Doesn't mean
awake.
you're awake. Exactly. Yeah.
You can slap someone to wake them up. It'll just infuriate them. Only when they realize that it was for their good, and only when they think it is time for them, only when they think retrospectively and value your opinion, your input, the way you
But I
meant
think
it.
people should, yeah, I mean, surely what I said, I know wasn't the right thing to say, but people should read or understand more on their own decision. As you say, no one else can tell you, you should, and you can, you can't, you should.
If you want to find an answer, the answer will find you.
Yeah.
You have to be open to it. Thinking too much is the epidemic of this era. Thinking too much, doing too much. I don't say just lay on the sofa and do nothing. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
What I mean is be open, be alert, be consciously aware of your opening. Sit and meditate. Meditating is...
You meditate, don't you?
I do.
How does that make you feel? Does that change your whole persona? What does it do for you? What advantage is meditating for you? And is it the same for everybody, or do different people have different experiences?
People have different experiences. You know, the number of people that are alive are the number of different opinions that can be multiplied by many. You know, one person can have different opinion about the same subject over and over again. So think about it this way. You're working on a desk. Your desk is cluttered. Everything is on there. The books, the newspapers, your music, your telephone, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, whatever, your kids. Everything is on that table. And you start cleaning the table. Once you start cleaning, you realize that there is a lot to clean. You clean. And in the end, it is not empty. It is tidy. Once it is tidy, but tidy doesn't mean neat. Neat is in your own understanding.
It means
tidy
where you know things are and where to reach for and what to get.
where you can map things
Yeah.
and where you can access them
Yeah.
at the best speed or best efficiency that you can. That is tidy. And if you don't have any more space on that desk, how are you going to put something new on it? For example, an idea. If you're looking for an answer and the answer is not on that table, on that desk, that answer has to come there on an empty space. That's how meditation helps me.
So
And
it
clears-
cleans everything up. It
clears
makes
some space.
Yeah.
We
So
used
kind
to-
of makes sense of things in a way.
Defragmentation
Yeah.
was what it's called in Windows, and not iOS doesn't not OS of Mac, not iOS, does not defrag. It works in a totally different perspective. And we can actually compare and contrast the method of writing on a hard disk and using flash drives. A flash drive does not require a physical writing on a disk. That's why it is more prone to electromagnetism. Any information you store on a flash drive, on an SSD, solid state drive, is prone to any solar activity. A solar flare that would affect the world electromagnetically would wipe out all the information you would have there. Hard drive, on the other hand, is slower to access, to write, to process, but it's more stable. But it can write on a bed sector and the whole information is already dead from the start.
Right.
They are just different ways of doing the same thing. We are now on the etheric realms of information and knowledge. In other words, aka also known as cloud storage. Where is the information? It's in the cloud. What is the cloud? It's the ether.
Yeah.
If you call it that, it's the mystical way of coining names. Meditation does that for me. Me accessing information or my intuition on a faster, more efficient level.
Well, something I've never done, but maybe I may give it a try.
You may.
And I would just like to say, for those people, for you, if you're listening, then please, we would like to have your input on this. We would like to know what you
No,
feel
I
about
don't.
this. I would. I'd like you. I'd like you to please just give us a thumbs up, or just tell us, do you meditate? And if you do meditate, how does it make you feel? How does it change your attitude about things, or does it change anything at all? We'd love to know about it. The email address is flashing up on screen at this moment. Please, if you have an opinion on this, please let us know. Be very, very welcome. Arkan, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.